isolated mines, agriculture and industry span this whole area, and for its people, they truly lived a traditional and gentle way of life.
So a railway running out of this area was originally deemed as unprofitable, but the communities far and wild were not for keeping quiet. In a letter from J.M. of Keswick, printed in the Railway Accommodation in the Lake District, Carlisle Journal, November the 6th, 1857, says, "Here we are, buried, shut out from the world, as it were, 15 hours from a morning paper, while other people know in an instant what's happening on the other side of the kingdom." However, investors soon succumbed to the idea of running a mineral train from the West of Cumberland to the Coke-ovens of South Durham, and with the backing of the London and Northwestern Railway, the Royal Assent was granted in August 1861. So it's here that I start my journey at Cockermouth, an ancient market town and civil parish in the borough of Allerdale in the northwestern part of Cumbria, some 8 miles from the coast, taking its name from the local river.
Its original station was a shared station with the Cockermouth and Workington Railway, whose station became the joint goods station, officially opened on the 2nd of January 1865.
The first sod was cut at, near Church Lane in Great Crosthwaite in Keswick by the company chairman on the 21st of May 1862. The construction of the 31.5 miles of railway was started, and 4 years on the 2nd of January 1965, the Cockermouth and Keswick and Penrith Railway was up and running. But the station at Cockermouth, the yard and the grounds have all been taken over by commercial units and the local fire brigade.
The line's ghost travels east along the A66 into the Lake District to Embleton, previously known as Lamford. Embleton station grounds, now married up to the A66, had a timber yard and a sawmill. All station buildings were demolished bar the station house, that still stands in private hands, closed before the line was axed on the 15th of September 1958. Out away from Embleton, we follow the A66 to Bassenthwaite Lake. The station building and one platform are still visible from the A66 through the trees. The station and the platform are currently being renovated for a loco set that's not native to its area.
And so in 2019, a replica French-style steam locomotive with wagons and carriages that was used in the 1917 film of Murder on the Orient Express were installed on the site as part of a tourist development and a cafe. And so the line goes from here and continues along towards the next township.
Braithwaite Station Place beside a farm was once host to 6 LMS caravans in 1934 and 1935, followed by 8 caravans from 1936 to 1939. A camping coach was also positioned here by the London Midland region from 1958 to 1964. In 1862, the railway company decided to establish its office at Keswick Station. The site was one of a larger size. It had an engine shed, a carriage shed and capable of accommodating at least 6 carriages and a turntable. The station survived for 6 years before closing on March the 6th, 1972. The main station building has been used as a hotel and a restaurant in recent years, but most of the other structures have now been demolished and the land converted for car park.
The station was designed by the railway engineer Thomas Bouch, and the construction was the contractor of George Bolton and Sons. Now, the line from beyond Keswick to Cockermouth and Workington was closed on the 18th of April 1966 by the beaching cuts, leaving a single line branch between Keswick and Penrith.
An 80-metre long Victorian tunnel was filled in after the railway line was closed in the early 1970s. It stood hidden away until the mid-2020s, when 3 tonnes of material was cleared away and opened up as part of a multi-million-pound project to create a new pathway.
So the line continued east, came out of the town of Keswick and went over the River Greta into a cutting towards a tunnel via a brewery and a mill and an electric light works and a forge before it went into the tunnel. The next station on the line was Threlkeld Station, a route that winds in and out over the local river many times, and today the track bed is now a railway trail. There was also an important but busy quarry that opened in 1870 to supply the railway ballast to the Penrith to Keswick railway line.
3 miles east of Keswick, Threlkeld Station and its town is nestled at the southern foot of Ln Great, one of the most prominent fells in the Northern Lake District, and north of the river Glendamachin.
This is the reason why we're here. This is a microgranite and it's approximately 454 million years old, give or take a week or so. And it was because of this the quarry was opened in 1862 by the contractors that were building the Cockermouth, Keswick and Penrith Railway. They came looking in the area for suitable material for railway ballast and for bridgestone, as between Cockermouth and Penrith I believe it's about 135 bridges, over bridges and tunnels and so on. So the railway opened in 1865. That meant there was means of getting the granite out from this quarry and then distributing it across the country by train. So one of the early contracts from the quarry here was supplying railway ballast when they were relaying sections of the West Coast main line between Lancaster and Carlisle, which is very much part of the heritage of the Lake District. Yet had it not been for the heavy industry such as the mines and the quarries, there'd never have been the incentive to bring the railways into the area, and then without the railways they'd never brought all the tourists in to appreciate the pretty bits. Whilst we're closed at the moment, we hope to be reopening on the 18th of May. We'll be running trains again from that date, and you'll be able to learn about all the sort of the dark and dirty side of the Lake District, including some of the geological history. So if you can imagine, the Lake District as a whole has got almost a bit of everything. So it's got coal, it's got copper, it's got sandstone, limestone, the granite, the slate and varieties, things like that. It's a whole melting pot is Cumbria. Geologist's heaven. There now, how's about that?
For as much as writing scripts and taking on notes and going on Google Google Earth to get a lay of the land before I ever set off on an adventure. And it might take an extra hour of my time to hunt down such a beautiful structure like this. This is what I love about doing these videos. Now, I'm a family man and I love bringing my kids out to see things like this. I can hear the birds, the stream. I've got my butties and a flask of tea, and I've got this to look at. So on the way out of away from the quarry and the railway station, heading east, you come across this viaduct, Mossdale Viaduct I think it's called, which is not far from the village. I think it's pronounced Braithwaite. Now, building work on this viaduct began in 1862 and the first test train crossed it. I'm having a butter now. And the first test train passed over about 2 years later in 1864. Made of stone, and there's 12 arches, and it's just over 420 feet long. Now, it was built originally to take the single line out towards Penrith, but around about 1900 it was extended and adapted so the line could be doubled. Yeah, can you believe that British Railways in 1997, the Railway Property Board, agreed to defer plans to demolish this viaduct in light of proposals that the line might be reinstated. Foresight that to replace this, if it had been demolished, would have cost an absolute fortune. So at this point we've got 3 more stations that we have to stop at before we hit the West Coast Main Line at Penrith. The next station is Troutbeck. It's amazing. That there is the Troutbeck platforms station, and I doubt very much there's much footage of Troutbeck station lying around. Now, Troutbeck station was, and the village, taking its name from the local stream that helped to build up the local activities. Being close to a good roadway, it was assumed that this stage would attract tourists and also for them to enjoy the beautiful area. And I'm potentially touching old railway building here. Some nice locals have let me have a little snuck in. So this helped to serve a brick and tile works and had a large water tank to feed the thirsty locomotives ascending the lines. Today it's all gone bar little bits of the station house, which is now a lodge cottage.
In 1874, a down loop was laid with its platform and an enclosed timber waiting shed. This shelter used on Sunday afternoons for school children and collective arts of worship, and its furniture included a harmonium.
The next station, second to last, is Penruddock. This was similar into design to Troutbeck, however its platforms were staggered. Its original sidings became part of the passing loop in 1870 with a signal box, and this was built in 1896. It's really difficult to believe this once was a railway station. Now, Station Road gives it away, which is always a great help when you're looking for past lost railway stations and grounds. And there's new houses built on the station grounds as it is now. I believe they were built there sometime in the 90s. Now, on the way to Penrith, I believe you pass over a short but sweet little viaduct, and that takes us to our last intermediate station, which is Ln. That took some doing, didn't it? At the station at Port Razat Station, it's all virtually gone, just platform left. But this line that goes off past this little viaduct onto Penrith, it was well worth the scramble.
Blencow's history is now in the shadows of the concrete plant that was once the line works. A store yard at this station was noted in the 1904 Railway Clearinghouse Handbook. It shows that Blencow could handle the full range of goods, including furniture vans, carriage, portable engines, machines on wheels, livestock, horse boxes and prize cattle vans. Provision of a 2-ton capacity crane is also told.
Now there is a campaign to reinstate this very long line, and just by using a single track. Now they would put some intermediate stations in, and the estimation around 2017, which in comparison is the same cost as just lying down 2 miles of motorway. So there we go. So what's left of this railway that the public can see, apart from this trail that I've tracked through today. Keswick Museum and Art Gallery on Station Road have many items connected with the railway, including the first barrow and spade that were used in the ceremony to cut the very first sod of this railway on May the 21st, 1862.